Ah, now you're all scared. That was Mr. Bungle, the mighty Mr. Bungle. You may also know the lead singer. He is, and goes by the name of Mike Patton. Mike Patton, also of Faith No More fame, of Tomahawk fame, of Phantomus fame, of collaboration with the Dillinger Escape Plan fame, of many other things fame. He's a nutter. That was his first band. I'd highly recommend you actually get a hold of the California album and the Mr. Bungle album, because they're twistedly perverted and they're just completely off the wall. However, I would recommend that you don't listen to Disco Volante, because it will give you a headache. Right. We were talking about DKP and the principles behind DKP. If you have any comments on DKP, because that is the subject of this week's Workings Intended, if you have a better system than DKP, email themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. Right, okay. Now, this is quite appropriate, because I am going to read an email from someone who holds the view that I personally oppose, and that's always good, because then we can have a debate. And we can learn things, and everything can be all right with the world. Right, Sushi says this. In my experience, DKP systems favour those players who simply have nothing better to do than grind MC all day, every day. Thus, if you're a more casual member of a guild, even if you're putting in serious effort, when you do go to MCZG Blackwing Lair, you tend to simply not get any loot. Point systems are obviously put in practice by guilds because it's better than just rolling for epics, but what happens is a core group of super hardcore players get all the loot, and the other players who might be just as skilled and put in just as much effort, but not play as often, get little to nothing. Okay. I'm going to deal with this point after point. Now, this is a common, in my opinion, misconception about DKP and point systems in general. That it benefits the super mega hardcore players. Now, the whole thing about grinding MC all day every day is that you can't. MC can be done in, as demonstrated earlier, we did, and this was slow apparently for our guild. Usually we do this a lot faster. We did, from the start, 2 Ragnaros in under 5 hours. Now, on a Sunday, when a lot of people have time, and let's face it, I work full time, and yet I have the time to do MC the whole of it on a Sunday, because it is a Sunday, it is a day off, and I will spend it doing Molten Core. Does that make me a super mega hardcore player? The fact of the matter is you can't grind MC every day, because that's the way it's made. It's not a grind, because you can't grind it. Once you kill the boss, he's dead for a very long time. It's not as if you're going to Tyr's Hand and grinding and grinding and grinding, or Dark Whisper Gorge and grinding and grinding and grinding for epics. No, it's not a grind, it's an instance. So, and it's also an instance that you can't continually repeat. Right. So, if you're more... Now, he argues this. If you're a more casual player of a guild, even if you're putting in serious effort, you tend to simply not get any loot. Now, in my opinion, serious effort is actually turning up and doing your job in the instance. Now, if Molten Core is done, say, once or even twice a week, which it can be done in one day, or you can split it over a couple of days, either way, it's friendly to casuals, because if you were to do it on a day when the casuals can raid, then they can sit there and do the whole of Molten Core and still get... You know, they could just not be able to log in for the rest of the week, and they still get exactly as much of a benefit under the DKP system as a super mega hardcore player that never leaves the game would. Now, if you were to split it over a few nights, when it was only, say, 2-hour sessions, take down a couple of bosses here and there, then even then, casual players can surely have the time to do that. It's only a couple of hours. It is as long as it would take you to do, say, LBRS or that kind of thing, which is a casual, quote-unquote, instance. Now, the next point. What happens is a core group of super hardcore players get all the loot, and the other players who might be just as skilled. Let me point out that there is very, very little individual skill involved in Molten Core. Do you know what Molten Core consisted of me doing today? I pressed, other than buffs, 2 buttons. Remove Lesser Curse and Frostbolt. That's it. That is all I did. Why? Because that's all I need to do. Oh, that requires so much skill. No, an ape could be trained to do that. In fact, I could have got one of those ducking birds and just timed it just so it would go up and down, up and down. 2.5 second break between each. Frostbolt, frostbolt, frostbolt. Or, if necessary, if I were to use decursive, I could program it to do decursive. But in this case, I do it myself. So I'll target and press hotkey 1. Target 1. Target 1. Oh, this is so difficult. Wow. I am mentally taxed and vexed by this whole experience. No, it's not really that, is it? There is no skill involved in it. There is organisation and teamwork. You are but one of the many cogs in the machine. Your individual skill is irrelevant. Hammer the frostbolt button or shut up and heal me. It's that simple. Now, a super hardcore group of players gets all the loot. One, not true. The way DKP systems often work. Now, let me make an example of the simple raid point system I implemented in the Halibuts before I left that guild. Under the simple raid point system, you gain 1 point for attendance to Molten Core. There are no variables. You do not gain extra points for staying in an hour, staying in 2, blah, blah, blah. You get 1 point, and that is it for turning up. Obviously, you don't get that point if you decide to just turn up and then run away. It's, it's based on common sense. Come and do the instance with us, we'll give you a point. And all items were done under closed bidding. One final closed bid. You bid as much as you thought the item was worth. If you thought it was worth your 50 points, then you spent 50 points. If you thought it was worth 3 points, you spent 3 points. And the person who bid the most won. What we found there was a very simple principle. Super mega hardcore players cannot win everything because they never ever get enough points to do it. When I say, right, let's make an example. I did a lot of raids with my previous guild. I could be possibly that super mega hardcore player, or whatever. And I had about 22 points by the end of it. I used those points to get myself a Staff of Dominance. By doing that, I destroyed my points. They were gone. And the next raid, some other items dropped that I wanted and I couldn't win them. Instead, casual players who only had 4 or 5 points won them. So we had a guy with 5 points who managed to win, the Mano Igniting Chord, which I'd have loved, but I couldn't because I used my points. Once they're gone, they're gone. You've got to get them back. So, at the end of the day, all that a system like that does is delay casual players from getting the loot. It's more of a priority system. If you are there every single time putting in the effort, you will get the loot first. But it doesn't mean that everyone else will not get a shot at it. Oh no. They'll just have to be patient and wait. Now, let me take an example of the system we used previous to that and compare. The previous system was called Halibut Raid Points. It was designed because people had these concerns. They came up with stuff like this. They said, oh, only super mega hardcore players will get it. It's not fair, blah, blah, blah. I won't do Molten Core if you implement a DKP system. So we thought, well, we can't just do random rolls because it's stupid. So we can't do Loot Council because we can't trust the people in charge. So what can we do? Okay, let's think of another way of doing it. Let's implement a new point system. We came up with Halibut Raid Points. And Halibut Raid Points basically works in the way that you get points by raiding, which you can spend to buy numbers on the dice. A roll which is done by the Master Looter, and the one who gets the number wins the item. Sounds great in theory until you get stuff like the Mage Blade drop and you get 13 casters roll on it. And they're all spending, say, a range between 1 and 21 points. The roll goes up to something like 127, and the guy who spent 2 points wins it over the guys who spent 21. That demonstrates in itself that it's a flawed system, because it's based on chance. You might as well just be rolling random. What we found there was that, in fact, that system benefited super mega hardcore players more. Why? Because they were able to roll more. If you're in an instance more, you're naturally going to get more loot. It's a basic principle of WoW. Doesn't matter what instance you're in. If you raid Strat, for instance, 20 times, and someone else raids Strat 5 times, the chances are you'll come out with more loot than the 5 man. than the Year 5 raid guy. And why? Because you were in there more. It's natural probability. Say if in 20 runs, 10 things you want drop, you might win 3 of them. In 5 runs, 2 things you want drop, you might win none of them. Is it fair? Yeah, it's life, basically. That is life. The more you are in there, the more you expose yourself to opportunities. It's exactly the same. You know, if you hobnob around high-class parties, you are more likely to get a good contact than if you just hang around in your local pub. It's the same principle. If you don't play it, you can't win it. So, now, that's my personal opinion on DKP. Now, I'm going to get a few more opinions on this before I go to the break. Gianni Solanco, also known as Julian from Blade Fist, says, the DKP system is a good thing for everyone, in my opinion. You get the better loot if you spend more time killing new bosses. If you don't have as much time to play as other players in your guild, it just takes you more time to get the gear, but you'll still get it at some point. Exactly. If you would roll on all epics, then the person who's been MC 2 times can get the loot before the people who get it 50. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword in that respect. If we were to do random rolls in Molten Core, I went to there 2 times. I won the Azure Song Mage Blade and say the Robo Volatile Power. And someone who's gone 50 times has just won 1 weapon or whatever. Now, you'd think that that was a bit unfair. And you would be right, because it is. Not only that, though, it's a really twisted thing. Because in real life, the chances are you wouldn't win that stuff. Again, if you don't play it, you can't win it. The more time you spend in there, the more likely you are to get a nice drop. Going against that is going against the laws of nature, in my opinion. And again, I agree with what he's saying. It just takes longer. For instance, the run I was on today, if I wanted the Arcanist gloves, I could have had them. I could have just had them. I'd only been at 1 Molten Core raid with these people, yet I could have had the Arcanist gloves. Why? Because everyone else already has it or better. So me, as the newbie, the casual player, actually got the shot at epic loot. I just didn't want it. I said no, keep it for a Nexus Crystal. It's more use to the guild than it is to me. Keep it, disenchant it, get a Nexus Crystal in 1.9. Same principle. Someone who's only been there once also got the Fellheart shoulder pads. Why? Because everyone else already has it or better. That's exactly how a DKP system works. Eventually, you will get your just desserts. You will get everything you desire. But if you spend more time in there, the chances are you'll get it first. Let's face it, if you are rolling, it's more than likely that you have exactly the same thing. Exactly the same principle. Because you get more chances. More chances equals more wins. Basic laws of probability. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. I think it's time for wrapping the forums. Run and hide, folks. Yo, faux shizzle and so forth. It's time for another edition of the one and only Rapping the Forums, where we take the worst, the most angry, angsty, evil and awful posts ever devised by man and turn them into cringeworthy raps of death. Ugh. But it's certainly blinging. It's better than me singing. Okay, first rap of the day. Mr. Fraggers, a level 16 Night Elf Rogue. I've never seen any of those before. His guild, his dreams, his realm, his executors. Are we ready? It's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. A short and a 2. The hamsters that control the drop rate of a vast amount of essential items that we, the community, need. I cannot believe how incredibly stupid you are. I mean, rock hard stupid. Dehydrated rock hard stupid. Stupid, so stupid that it goes way beyond the stupid we know into a whole different dimension of stupid. You are trans-stupid, stupid, meta-stupid, stupid, collapsed on in itself. So far that even the neutrons have collapsed. Stupid, gone so dense that no intellect can escape. Singularity stupid. Blazing hot midday sun on Mercury stupid. You emit more stupid in 1 second than our entire galaxy emits in a year. Quasar stupid. Nothing in our universe can really be this stupid. Perhaps this is some primordial fragment from the original Big Bang of stupid, some pure essence of the stupid, so uncontaminated by anything else as to beyond. Now this can be applied to a variety of in-game mechanics, but as a community we know when and where this should be applied. So, when you've killed your 500th mob grinding for that valuable essence, think of the keyboard pounding hamster that's being paid a certain sum each year to torment you in your quest for maths. Edit typo. Pseudo-intellectualism for the lose. And oh no, the second one today. It's a mage wide. I've never seen one of them before. Oh yes. It be street. And so funky fresh. Yeah. It's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. I've had enough. Another one bites the dust after getting normal hit by a warrior for 600 damage. Then an instant crit to MS for 2000 while I bash on the blink button for when I get intercepted, leaving me basically dead unless I could kill him in 15 seconds. In AB, I quit the mage. I would just finally like to say, and I don't care if I get banned. FUCKYOUBLIZZARD. Go straight to hell for your imbalanced game, for your hours of frustration knowing that I got killed. Not because I was outskilled, but because of class imbalance. I am sick, so sick, I'm tired of this bleep. The mage class is beyond an effing joke, and after picking this game up on February 20th or so when it was released, playing it every day with over 90 days played as my mage, mastering it, knowing the class is outside in, go straight to hell. The mage class is not fine until you pull your high-headed horse from your ass and start realizing that thousands upon thousands of mages are not going insane and making stuff up. Your numbers will slowly decline. It's only a matter of time before another game comes out. Dark and Light looks good. So does DDO. I swear if things don't change soon, you can go to hell, because after this month's subscription is being cancelled. If you want a reason why, because this game isn't about skill anymore. It's about epics and what class you play. I really cannot understand why you could do so good in class balancing games like Diablo 2, yet are absolutely awful when it comes to this game. If someone can do the same damage as me per se, this warrior, then I should theoretically be able to get his amount of health and armor. And if I don't, it's not balanced, it's not equal. I could do this with many classes and explain why, but so many mages, especially Kaylee, on this forum gives a whole list of valuable reasons. How many does it take before you realize that mages are completely screwed? Why is it that you create 9 classes, yet don't have a 16 mage? From experience, you should know to actually play the class before passing judgment on what the class is like. Anyway, I've completely had it. WoW has lost its appeal. Mage is the only class I like. I refuse to re-roll after so much time invested. I am currently looking for new games coming up. I mentioned 2 above that look appealing, because this game isn't recommended if you want to play a mage. End of rant.